So the first thing that I always like to talk about is having some sort of checklist, and this should have gone out with the materials. And this is just an example of a checklist. This is one that we came up with here in the library. You would want to adapt it for your particular situation. The idea is that you want to keep a note of where you've been and what you found at each of those websites, because it doesn't take very long doing this before you start to find yourself going in circles and visiting the same websites again and again. And also, if you are doing a skip tracing exercise for the courts, let's say, for example, you're doing a due diligence before you ask for permission to serve someone by publication, do service by publication, you have to prove to the judge that you actually tried to find the person. So this is one way to do that. Or if you work in a law firm and you have to bill time back to a client, having a checklist or a journal is an excellent way to do that. So on that checklist, you would want to write down all the information that you know about the person or business that you're trying to research. And then as you learn more information, you'll go back and update that information, because maybe you started out with just a middle initial, but then going along you end up finding their full middle name, or maybe you find a maiden name that you didn't know about before. So this is just a spattering of possible information that you might want to write down and then augment as you go along. So one of the first places that most searches start out with is just a regular online directory, White Pages, DexKnows. There's a bunch of different online directories that you can use, and hopefully, if everything is going to cooperate, we'll be able to do a live search here, and I'll just show you an example of what you might be able to find or not. I'm not sure why Explorer is not launching. That's frustrating. Okay, well, we'll try it on the next slide and hope for better success. So what I would have wanted to show you was the search results for a local, oh, hold on. Okay, it looks like our internet access is running very, very slowly, which is, of course, unfortunate when you're trying to do an online class. It could also be a Blackboard issue as well. So your patience is appreciated. Okay, I guess we will skip trying to do a live search on this and come back to it later. So anyway, what I would have shown you was the search results for a gentleman who's well known in our parts. His name is Tim Iman, and he does a lot of initiative work, and he lives over in one of the outskirts of Seattle. Some of the more interesting things that these online Yellow Pages are starting to offer is being able to link you into a map, being able to show you who neighbors are, even being able to show you people associated at that same house. So they might give you the name of children or a spouse. So that's a good first place to start. If you need to look outside of the U.S., a good way to look at that would be through the InfoBell website for trying to find international phone directories. And this is a screenshot of their website. Okay. Sometimes all you have is just a phone number, and you want to know where that phone number came from. So this is one example of a website that might be helpful. It's called phonefinder.net, and this one is nice because you don't have to have a complete phone number. You can put only the first 7 digits, and it will give you a lot of information. It will tell you whether or not it's a landline or a cell phone, who the phone company is, and the general geographic location. So let's say you are getting a number coming up on caller ID and you want to know where that's from, or if you've gotten a phone number and you're not getting anywhere with it and you want to find out if it's a cell phone, this is one way to do it. This could also be a way to try and find out who the phone company is that serves a particular number if you are trying to get a subpoena for phone records. That's one option as well. Now, Google Street View is something that you probably all used at some point in time. The idea is that you use Google Maps, and I'm not going to demonstrate it since the internet seems to be a little cranky right now, but the idea is that you search by your street address and you drag the little man, the little yellow guy, over to the street, and it shows you what the street level looks from the little Google car that drives around. And this can be quite helpful, especially for folks like me. As I said before, I'm not a private investigator, so I would not feel comfortable going out and doing live surveillance. But I can get an idea of what an area looks like. I have heard of people successfully using the Google Street View to get license plate numbers off of cars parked in driveways of houses that they're trying to research. So consider that as one option to get an idea of what an area looks like. Also, if you're giving an address and it seems a little bit something seems wrong with that address, you can check it out on Google Street View to see if it really is an address or if it's just a parking lot in the middle of nowhere. Now, this is one of my absolute favorite websites. This is the Washington State Voter Database. And in Washington, we are very, very lucky to have this resource available, and I'm going to hope that it cooperates for us. A lot of folks don't realize that voter information is public information. And basically what happens is the Washington Secretary of State puts out a database dump of information every 6 months or so. And then the folks who run the Sound Politics blog put a nice, relatively user-friendly interface over the top of it. And with that interface, you can search by name. You can also search by address throughout the state of Washington. Now, if you are going to search by address, you have to select a county first, and it's kind of particular. You have to follow the specific instructions for entering the information. And at the bottom of the screen that should hopefully pop up is a little FAQ for how to input the address information. And unfortunately, okay, I'm going to have to strategize for a second because it looks like it's not working on the desktop share in terms of being able to pull up websites. So hold on just a moment while I come up with a plan B. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, folks. We're having some technical difficulties on this side, so please be patient.
Is everybody able to hear my sound currently right now live? Good, just making sure it wasn't something bigger. Can you guys go all the way back to Blackboard just to see if that helps to cut that connection that may be interfering? Excuse me, I should have said whiteboard, not Blackboard. Kim, I don't know if you can hear me, but we are not receiving any sound from you guys currently.
All right, can you hear me now?
I can. How about everybody else? How about a vote instead of a reply?
Okay, good. I'm really sorry, folks. We tried this yesterday and it worked just fine. So I'm not sure what's happening. What I would like to do is take about a 5-minute break, and I'm going to load the slides through the traditional format, and we'll pick up from there. So my apologies. I'm not sure what's happening. As I said, it worked yesterday when I tested it. So, but we will take about a 5-minute break and then pick it up again. So thank you for your patience.
Thank you.
Hello. Actually, right now the problems are, my understanding with I just have to log out for audio, but I understand they're trying to get the presentation up and back on with the desktop sharing.
Nobody should need to log out, in theory.
Sorry for the delay. We will be, well, you received the handouts, and we will send the archive as well, but hopefully we will be back on track soon. Well, thank you for your patience, and while we wait, I know we have people joining us from all over, not just Washington State, but also from other states. So if you want to go ahead and type in chat, you can either take a break. They're going to try again in 5 minutes. I'll put the timer on so people can know when to come back. And then also, if you want to just share where you're from, that would be great. So thank you for your patience and sorry for the delay. Oh, hi, Robert. I didn't realize that you were, I didn't see you there before. Welcome. My neighbor down in Portland. People from California, New York, Boise, and
hey, Carlsbad. That's right next to where I grew up in Oceanside.
Iowa, Ohio, and Kansas, Virginia. Wow, word got really spread around. That's wonderful. Thank you all for joining us from close and far. Maryland. That's great. Great thing about web technology when it works, when it can bring us together from all over the country. Sorry, I was talking to myself. I put a link for the old archive of this class. That class was held a while back. It was actually in 2010. So it's about 2 years old. So some of the information may have changed, but some of it would still be up to date and accurate. There are some other webinars archived there as well that you're invited to check out. And so I typed that link into chat. I'll put it in again in case you didn't catch it the first time.